Imagine receiving a package from a group technically outside the church, addressed to you personally, laying out in meticulous detail why they're about to defy the Pope. Then imagine that package arrived at the doorstep of every single bishop in your country. That's exactly what happened in Italy this week. The book that landed on every bishop's desk. The Society of St. Pius X has sent a newly published book at the service of the Church to every diocesan bishop in Italy. The timing is deliberate. July 1 is approaching, the consecrations are planned, and the Society wants the bishops to understand why. In a covering letter, the Italian District Superior, Father Gabriele D'Avino, frames it as an invitation to renew reflection on the crisis. But the book itself is far more direct. It opens with St. Paul's warning, "Even if we or an angel from heaven were to preach to you a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let him be accursed." Galatians 1:8. The target of that warning? Not external threats, but what the SSPX sees as errors emerging from within the Church's own leadership. Leaders who, in their words, have adulterated the faith. The book argues that the Church is experiencing an extraordinary and grave public state of necessity. When many souls are in serious spiritual danger with no hope of assistance from the legitimate pastors, a duty arises for bishops to act even without authorization. From this flows the most controversial claim. In such circumstances, the normal requirement for a papal mandate does not bind. The text argues that a command issued in such a situation is not binding, and that a subject who does not obey does not question the authority in its legitimate exercise. The Society even invokes supplied jurisdiction, the idea that the Church provides necessary authority when it's lacking due to extraordinary circumstances. They claim the power of jurisdiction arises from the request of the faithful and not from the consent of the hierarchical superior. Canon law is clear on this point. Canon 1387 establishes automatic excommunication for both the bishop who illicitly consecrates and the one who receives consecration. The act is valid but illicit, and in the eyes of Rome, it's a direct violation of papal authority. Cardinal Gerhard Miller has been unequivocal. No Orthodox Catholic can invoke reasons of conscience if he withdraws from the formal authority of the Pope regarding the visible unity of the sacramental Church. Cardinal Robert Sarah asks the painful question, is it to desire the salvation of souls to tear apart the mystical body of Christ in a way that may be irreversible? Cardinal Anders Arborelius recently clarified that the SSPX does not live or act in communion with the Holy See, and warned that receiving sacraments from them expresses a lack of unity with the diocesan bishop and Pope Leo XIV. Behind the theology are real people. Father David Pagliarin, the SSPX Superior General, wrote to the Pope twice last year, first requesting an audience, then explaining the Society's needs. He received no timely reply. When the Vatican finally responded after the consecrations were announced, Pagliarin called the offer dilatory and conditional. He reminded Rome of the 2017 debacle, when Cardinal Miller unilaterally declared that full communion required accepting the entire council and the post-conciliar period, ending years of dialogue in a single stroke. The book sent to every Italian bishop doesn't ask for agreement, it asks for reflection. It asks whether the current crisis justifies extraordinary measures. It asks whether when shepherds fail, someone must still feed the sheep. On July 1, the answer will come, not in a book, but in an act that will either reunite or further divide the Church. And every bishop in Italy now holds in their hands the reasons why.